All right, point number 3, Chris. With 3 straight losses now for Leicester City, is Brendan Rodgers the next manager to be fired?
He could well be. They're only, and not many people saw this coming with Leicester. They're 2 points off safety. It's a worrying slide. Chelsea next week and Brentford the week after. Now, if they don't do something in those 2 games, he could be gone, because if they don't, it's so tight down the bottom there that if they don't win those 2 or one of those 2, they could well be in the bottom 3, because results are crazy. Everyone down there is pulling a win out of somewhere every now and then, and everyone's kind of like taking a turn. And so if Leicester don't, there's been rumblings for a while. A lot of Leicester fans aren't happy with Rodgers, aren't happy with the style of play. He kind of he got away with it for the first season, but yeah, it's so tight down there that the Chelsea game, and that could go either way. Brentford, that's going to be a tough one for them as well, and he could well be the next. He could be the next one, him or David Moyes, West Ham. But I reckon he could be the next one to go.
Yeah, look, I think I agree with you. Give him 2 more matches. That's what I would do. Or give him the possibility of 2 more matches. I would look at Chelsea. You could get beat by a Chelsea team that hasn't scored multiple goals in a month and a half. Then if you go get beat by Chelsea, okay, then maybe you have to make a move. But maybe Chelsea's getting right after their win they had this week. I would say you're right. The Chelsea match, the Brentford match, you need probably 4 points out of that for me to feel good about keeping Brendan Rodgers. You lose both of those matches, he has to go, no question. I do hear Simon Jordan say it this morning that there are rumblings out of Leicester that King Power are kind of tightening the purse strings a little bit now that they've got the stadium built and refurbished and all of those things. So that makes sense. I would absolutely buy that, because it's not like it's a great roster. And £7 million that you're spending right now are going to Jamie Vardy, who's giving you nothing at 36 years of age at this point, right? So it's not like, I mean, you're by far your most expensive player is bringing nothing to the table at this point. And that roster's just not very good. Iheanacho, I mean, how many? That's a guy who's a striker for a team that gets relegated. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but he is, or he's a backup at a good squad, right? So I just look around. I like Madison, but who else on that team are you looking at saying that's a world-class player? There's maybe one guy you could make the argument for in Madison, and that's it. It's not a great roster. So I don't know that it's Brendan Rodgers' fault. I think he's probably overachieved the last couple of seasons at Leicester, but if he's not the answer, then you have to find out who is the answer. I'll tell you what's not instilling confidence for me in Brendan Rodgers being around within the next 2 weeks. And that's that the board leaked earlier today a list of 4 names that they could possibly be looking at. As someone that's worked in sports media for almost 20 years, that's the kiss of death, because what that is a trial balloon. It's saying, okay, let's see how the fans are going to react to the idea of firing the coach and the possibility of bringing these guys in. And number 1 on that list, Thomas Frank at Brentford. Right now, if you're Thomas Frank, are you leaving Brentford for what you have at Leicester City?
No way. No, you're not going. You're not leaving Brentford, are you? They're on fire at the moment. No, and it's a great point you make, Will, about the budget he's got to work with at Leicester. Leicester really missed it. They missed a great opportunity when they won the Premier League. It only seems like a couple of seasons ago. I know it's 6 years maybe now or so. But they never really built on that. At a time when players would have joined Leicester City, top class players, if ever there was a time, it was going to be then. And they missed that boat, really, and they didn't invest. And now they've sort of gone back to mediocrity. And really, that's where Leicester City have always been. So they're right where they, but for the last 5 or 6 years, Leicester are where they've always been, quite frankly. But yeah, no, Thomas Frank, I couldn't see him. I couldn't see him leaving Brentford. There's absolutely no way.
If you're Pochettino, is that the job you're taking?
Not at this stage. No, I think I could see him back at Spurs. Can't you?
Yeah, I absolutely could.
Yeah.
I absolutely could, because they're not going to spend, and that's the one guy that can win with a bunch of young players if you don't spend.